4.
Yeah,
Hi everybody. Roy Terry, your vinyl junkie. Welcome to another episode of Vinyl Album Unboxing. The show is just there's not going to be so much vinyl album unboxing anymore. There's going to be more storytelling. You know, a lot of it's going to be music based, but there are going to be other topics too. Just stuff that people find interesting, like the Muhammad Ali show and things like that. We're going to have other types of shows because we just want to entertain and invite. Like I was saying before the first of the year, the vinyl album unboxing was getting a little bit unsustainable, you know, when you start doing the same people 2 and 3 times. But anyway, so here we are. Tonight we're going to talk about, I'm really going to enjoy this show because I'm going to talk about one of my favorite entertainers of all time, Jimmy Page. How he got started, what happened to his guitar being stolen, how it took 46 years to get it back. And we'll talk a little bit when we're done talking about Jimmy Page. We're going to talk a little bit about some other iconic guitar players whose instruments got stolen and they never got them back. So anyway, first thing I want to ask is, everybody ready? All right. Okay, so we're on. We got Linda here. Jeff Davidson, I sent you a link, Jeff, and there's also a link posted up above about 4 comments down. You're welcome to jump on. Huh?
Jeff, join.
Yeah, Jeff, you're welcome to jump on anytime you'd like. A little conversation about a young Jimmy Page and his beloved Black Beauty Les Paul guitar that got stolen and disappeared for a very, very long time. So we're going to get into that now. We're going to get into the whole thing, and I'm going to do a little brief early summary of Jimmy Page. You know, began his career as a studio session musician in London. In fact, by the mid '60s, he was alongside another studio musician, Big Jim Sullivan, was one of the most sought after session guitarists in Britain. And I heard at one studio in particular, he laid down tracks on 60% of everything that came out of that studio. That's how popular he was, and how so far ahead of everybody else he was that, hey, we need something really special on on some of our songs. Let's have him come in and be the studio musician and enhance our songs a little bit. And that's what a studio musician does. Anyway, so he was a member of the Yardbirds from '66 to '68. When the Yardbirds broke up, he founded Led Zeppelin, which was active from '68 to '80. Who is Jimmy Page? Jimmy Page is an English musician who rose to fame as a guitarist and leader of the popular rock band Led Zeppelin. Also a talented songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, he began his career as a studio session musician in London. As a young boy, he was greatly impressed by Elvis Presley. Did you know that, Robbie?
Yeah, I've got a story about that.
Oh, okay, fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. He was impressed with Elvis Presley and started playing the guitar at the age of 12. Though he initially received some lessons, he was largely self-taught. As a teenager, he used to play at local halls, joined the band, the Crusaders, when he was 15. The Crusaders, it sounds like a teenage band, the Crusaders. However, an illness forced him to put his musical career on hold, after which he decided to focus on his studies. But he could not distance himself from music for long. He started performing when he was still a student. Within years, he made a name for himself as a skilled instrumentalist, and he eventually went on to found, like we mentioned already, Led Zeppelin with Robert Plant, John Paul Jones, bass and keyboardist, and John Bonham, one of the most amazing drummers ever. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit of early stuff on Jimmy Page. You know, we're going to be talking about what happened to his 1960 Gibson Les Paul. And I've got some notes here. I'm going to put these reading glasses on. Hey, Adam D's there. Hey, Adam, how you doing, buddy? Jimmy Page bought Aleister McCrowley's mansion. Yes, he did. It was considered haunted, too. Okay, so, all right, let's see. This is the saga of Page's Black Beauty. And Black Beauty is usually what a black Les Paul guitar is called. And this happened to this Black Beauty happened to be a 3 pickup model in a custom. Now you can see straight behind me there's a blue guitar, and it's a Les Paul style guitar, and there's 3 pickups on it. Maybe I'll bring it in a little closer. Yeah, 3 pickups. So and that's pretty rare on the older guitars. I had a 1978 Les Paul Custom with 3 pickups, and it was a custom with all the gold hardware, gold covers around the pickups, gold turning keys. Everything that was metallic was gold. That's what the customs are. Everything is in gold. And I love that guitar. I bought it for $450. During the recession, I sold it on eBay for close to $2,000, which to me was half of what it was worth because it was a recession. Nobody really had any money, and that's what happens in recessions. But anyway, so it was a Black Beauty, a black Gibson Les Paul custom with all the gold hardware, and he bought that. Let me see. So the saga of Paige's Black Beauty features a threatening thief, the cash-hungry widow, the occult, blacklight forensics, a circumspect go-between, and a whole lot of rock and roll. The tale has more twists and turns than Stairway to Heaven. You know, and that Black Beauty guitar of his can heard being played on Petula Clark's Downtown, where all the Donovan's Sunshine Superman. And of course, it spent 45 anonymous years in the Twin Cities area where it was stolen, mostly in the hands of a musician who didn't know he even had an instrument that was owned by guitar god Jimmy Page, who is still looking for it. Now, before we go on, Robbie, you had a story about Jimmy Page and Elvis. Would you like to tell that story now?
Yeah. In 1974, Elvis was performing at the Forum there in LA. And Led Zeppelin was in town. They were promoting their new label, the Swan Song label.
Okay, yeah.
And Elvis was performing at the Forum, and he noticed Led Zeppelin sitting in the audience. And after the show, they called him back. They called Led Zeppelin back, and they got a chance to meet all the members of Led Zeppelin there, and then their manager, Peter Grant, was there with them. And the story goes, and this is a true story too, just like when Elvis met the Beatles, my dad was there with them. He said that Elvis, anytime he met somebody, Elvis really was a shy guy. He was a real bad, he was an introvert. Okay. And what broke the ice is Robert Plant started singing the song Love Me. And that's what broke the ice with Elvis. And Elvis thought that was funny. And that's what broke the ice. Now, Peter Grant, Vernon Presley, Elvis's dad, was there also sitting on the couch, and Peter Grant sat on him. That was another thing that broke the ice, and Elvis thought was funny. Yeah, Robert Plant was talking about, Elvis asked Robert Plant if all the stories were true about them destroying hotels and stuff like that. And Robert Plant jokingly said, "No, we're family men. We don't do stuff like that, Elvis." And he said, "As a matter of fact, I walk up and down the aisle singing your songs." So Elvis got a kick out of that.
Oh, and,
yeah. Elvis also said that he heard the song "Stairway to Heaven," and Elvis commented that he really loved that song. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. You know, Adam D's made a pretty interesting comment here. A lot of people mistake Page recording with his Les Paul. Actually, 90% Fender Telecaster, 10% Dan Electro. He only used his Les Pauls live. Now, I think that's fascinating because I haven't seen or read that yet. But that's really interesting. And you know, this Black Beauty I'm talking about, he didn't like to take it on tour. It was kind of rare for him to have done that when it got stolen. He never took it on tour again. He played, you know, in the studio with it and things like that. But he had other Les Pauls that he loved too. One he called his number one, one he called his number two, you know, and he probably has a whole whole house full of guitars. But he's worth a lot of money. So anyway, this is the guitar store owner talking. Maven Nate Westgore. He owned Willie's American Guitars, where the guitar eventually wound up, and we'll get to that later. But anyway, he says Jimmy's really into the occult. I don't know. He put a curse on that guitar, said Twin Cities vintage guitar maven Nate Westgore, owner of Willie's American Guitars, who twice had the Black Beauty in his St. Paul shop. I had it in my house for a couple of months, and it kind of freaked me out. That's kind of funny. Not sure why it freaked him out. But the super private Paige has a reputation for being fascinated with black magic and the supernatural. He even purchased, like I think it was Adam just said, he even purchased the controversial occultist Aleister Crowley's manor in 1971. Yeah, Aleister Crowley's manor in 1971. Adam D said that earlier in the chat. Thank you, Adam. I mean, you were dead on, and I recognized that as soon as you said it. That was cool. So anyway, okay, so Paige acquired his coveted Les Paul when he was 18 years old in 1962 via layaway from a London music shop. And the story I heard on that, he saw it, but he just couldn't afford it. And within days of him wishing he could buy it, what happened is the studio tapped him to be a studio musician. So he immediately went down and bought it. Okay, he laid it away from a London music shop for the then pricey sum of 185 pounds. Now, I don't know how much that translates into dollars today. You know, maybe $300 or $400. I'm not sure, but 185 pounds. Given its various features, this instrument offered more versatility for an in-demand studio guitarist who was often doing 3 different recording sessions per day, recording music on 3 different people's albums in a day. I mean, that's just like, that's what I was saying earlier. I read where at one point at one studio, he was laying down tracks on 60% of every album that went out the door. I mean, I just think that's crazy. Anyway, so never knowing in advance what was expected of him, Paige recorded with the Kinks, the Who, Marianne Faithfull, she's got a hell of a rep, them, Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones, Lulu, Joe Cocker, Donovan, Petula Clark, and even the Beatles. Even the Beatles. Hey, anybody in the chat have anything to say? Let's see. Which book do you have by Crowley? Oh, she's talking, I think, Adam. Keith Moon drove a car into a hotel swimming pool. I did read that story. Didn't Keith Moon die in his own swimming pool at a party he was having, Jeff?
Oh, it was Brian Jones.
Oh, bro, I'm sorry. That's exactly right. Yeah, Keith Moon died in the flat owned by Harry Nielsen in London. I visited that flat. I was with Jordan Klein. We made a little video there.
Big Mama Cass died in the same room that Keith Moon died in.
The same room, and she was not eating a ham sandwich, as rumored. There was one on the plate, but it didn't have a single bite out of it. I think she had like a heart attack or something. Yeah. Okay. Gino Powell saw Led Zeppelin, Lucky Man, in 1970 at MSG, Madison Square Garden, New York. Unbelievable show. And Linda Foster says, I got to check that out. I'd like to, yeah, that's got to be online. I've got to watch that too. I never got to see them live, and I was one of their biggest fans. I mean, crazy. It's a real fun read unless you enjoy reading textbooks. Okay, so this is Adam D responding to Linda about the book he read. Actually, Jimmy Page has a book. I don't know whether it's coming out because what I was reading is a little old, or whether it's already out and been out for a while. But anyway, so he acquired his Les Paul Black Beauty at the age of 18. Anyway, it had extra features on it. Plus, he did his own modifications on it. You know, normally there's a toggle switch where you can toggle between the 3 pickups. Well, he put 3 toggle switches on his because and it gave him all kinds of tones that, I mean, nobody else had, you know, mixing and matching the, you know, the pickups and stuff, and in phase, out of phase. When I had my Gibson Les Paul Custom, my 3 pickup, and I took it in to have, one of the pots was bad, and the guy put a push pull on it and gave me what became my favorite sound on that guitar. Pulling that knob out, it gave me a completely different tone I didn't get it any other way. So anyway, so anyway, we listed a bunch of the people he played for, even the Beatles. He also gigged in bands, notably the Yardbirds, and started in 1968 Led Zeppelin, which regularly performed in the United States. Okay, so now we're kind of getting to the story here about the guitar. In April of 1970, the British heavyweights rocked the old Met Center in Bloomington, with Montreal as their next stop. That was the first U.S. tour in which Page brought his beloved Black Beauty. He always left it home. He didn't want anything to happen to it. He loved that. As legend has it, the guitar was stolen by a baggage attendant at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. Baggage attendant stole the darn guitar. And somebody said the guy's got a black belt and is always threatening to kill everybody. And this was Wes Gore, the owner of the guitar store, saying that. Okay, so desperate to find his prized guitar, he ran ads in Rolling Stone magazine and seeking its return, no questions asked. You know, and whenever on tour in North America, he stopped by as many guitar shops as he could, just looking for his guitar. I can really relate to that, you know, popping in and out of guitar stores. Anybody in the chat got something they want to add? Just let us know. You can come on and tell the story, or just put it in the chat and we'll read it out to everybody. Let's see. Considered blasphemous. To some people, it would have been considered blasphemous. Okay, so get back to the story here. Okay, so apparently the guitar, which had been remodeled to remove some of Page's telltale customizations, but not the serial number. So some of the stuff that Jimmy Page had done to it, like the 3, here, let me show up. I'm going to throw a picture up real quick and show, okay, this is good, because right here is the 3 toggle switches. There's nothing normal about that on a Les Paul, nor the Bigsby, although you'll see them once in a while, the Bigsby tremolo. But so he's got the 3 toggle switches, which switching those things back and forth gave him all kinds of unique tones. So anyway, that's important to this entire story, is those 3 switches. So anyway, I love posting these pictures up here. Look at this really young Jimmy Page here. Look at that. I know, he's a great looking guy too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get that back off the screen now. Okay, so let's go on here. Okay, so the guy telling the story right now is the guy that owns Willie's American Guitars in St. Paul, Minnesota. A guy walks into his shop and he says, "I have Jimmy Page's guitar," and let's see, walks into the shop. "I have Jimmy Page's guitar. I've never seen this guy before. The serial number on the guitar was the same serial number as the one owned by Jimmy Page. It is the same serial number as in the Rolling Stone magazine, because that's where he was always advertising, trying to get it back. However, evaluations by Wes Gore, the guitar store owner, and fellow St. Paul vintage guitar dealer Pete Alanov, who reached out to Page's people, determined that it wasn't the instrument. So Wes Gore, the guitar store owner, sold it to $5,500 to one of his employees. Now he paid. Now the widow waited for her husband to die. Her husband was the baggage handler that stole the guitar, and for all these years he had it hidden underneath his bed. He finally died, and his widow pulled it out and sold it to some guy who brought it into the music store saying, "I have Jimmy Page's stolen Les Paul." Okay, so anyway, they examined it, determined that it wasn't it. And you'll understand why they determined it wasn't it in just a bit here. Okay, Adam D. Do I have to be the typical millennial and point out Jimmy Page had 14-year-old girlfriend who basically outright bought off her parents.
Whoa.
That's true.
Sorry, Adam.
You know, I did hear that, Adam. I did hear that. Hey, things were different back then.
There's pictures of them together.
Huh?
They got pictures of them together at the club in L.A.
I think he's been married 3 times, Jimmy Page. But anyway, so okay, so the mystery man said he paid to the widow whose husband had stolen it. He paid her $5,000, and Westgard, the guitar store owner, paid $5,000. Bought it from the guy who bought it from the wife. Okay, so he's got $5,000 in this guitar, and okay, so determined that it wasn't the instrument, so he sold it for $5,500 to one of his employees. Now this is key too. Paul, if I can say this right, Claesgens, Claesgens. He sold it to his employee at the guitar store, Paul Claesgens, also known as Bleem, and of the Twin Cities power pop trio Propeller. So Bleem was in a band called Propeller, a power pop trio, in fact. So, and here's what Claesgens or Beam says about the guitar. The thing sounded like the voice of God when you played it. And you could imagine a guitar that Jimmy Page would fall in love with would have to sound like the voice of God. You know?
Yeah.
Gibsons were originally made in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I've read that before too.
I didn't.
No.
No, I
Okay.
didn't. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Yep.
So now Bleem has the guitar, you know, and Bleem played that guitar for something like 23 years in the local clubs. And if you ever saw the movie Roadhouse, which you probably have, in fact, that white Fender Stratocaster behind me is called the Roadhouse Strat. It's got the Texas Special pickups in it that were in Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitars. You know, that's an American-made Fender Strat. Excuse me, I've been sick for like 2 weeks. I'm still having attacks. But
You're good.
so anyway, Bleem is playing this guitar, and just like in the movie Roadhouse, after the first couple of songs, drunk guys would start hurling bottles of beer up there, and he says many of the time he blocked and broke a bottle of beer on Jimmy Page's Black Beauty. I mean, if you could just imagine that. I just die when I read that, you know. So, not knowing he had a super valuable guitar, Claesgens sometimes used the instrument to shield against beer bottles tossed at the cage. And he occasionally left Paul overnight in Wisconsin clubs, fully expecting it to be there for the next night's gig. And you know, my younger brother was a great guitar player. I'm still trying to, you know, play a little here and there, but my brother Richie got really good. We started taking lessons when I think I was 12 and he was 9, and my neighbors across the street were all taking them together. We all quit together, you know, about 2 months later. And a couple of months went by. My younger brother went back and he kept going. Before I knew it, he had bands out in the front yard. He trained everybody how to play their instruments because he started out in school as a drummer. And so he taught everybody in the band how to play their own instruments. And no time at all, he was playing with all these great bands, you know, and getting written up in the papers and stuff. But anyway, he had a Gibson Les Paul Custom, a beautiful cherry burst, all gold hardware and stuff like that. And he was playing up at a club just up the highway from us in Boulder City, some bar, I guess. And something came up, and they were quitting for the night, and he was asked to you know, go to a party or something, and he got all excited, and he asked the bartender, will my guitar be safe if I put it behind the bar? And she said, well, of course. Well, he went back the next day to get his guitar, and it was gone, and I never saw it again. So anyway, that's my family our story. And Monroe, she wants to join me, and I'm really grateful for that. We took the dogs for a walk today, and I made a little travel vlog on it. So when you take five dogs for a walk around the lake, it's an experience. And I had Sammy, the old one, and I was carrying him about 2/3 of the way because he just couldn't do it anymore. And it's fun though. Hey Jeff, thank you. Jeff's hoping I start feeling better soon. And I don't know why this is lingering on. I've taken 2 home COVID tests, and they both came back negative. And I took them a couple of weeks apart because this thing is just hanging on and hanging on. They both came back negative. And I know there was some tests that were inaccurate, but this wasn't that brand. So hopefully just the flu or something that I'm trying to get over. So anyway, let's get back to our story about the Gibson Les Paul. It sounded like the voice of God, like I said. Not knowing, okay, then this Clay Jim's up there blocking beer bottles and stuff like that. So anyway, let's move on. Okay, so in 2014, Claysgens, or Blem from the Propellers Power Trio, he brought the guitar into Willie's for repairs. And the owner of Willie's Guitar Shop, Wes Gore, being the guitar geek he is, put it under a black light. Well, they'd never done that before because the guitar had been modified and all but one of the toggle switches had been removed, filled in, and repainted black. So that was one of the biggest reasons why when they got the guitar, they looked at it, and even though the serial number was the same in the back, it only had one toggle switch, and it looked perfect, like it hadn't been messed with or modified. So they decided it wasn't the right guitar. So, okay, so they brought it into Willie's for repairs, and Wes Gore, being the guitar geek he is, now put it under a black light. And people that do cars will use black lights to see flaws, and I've done that before. Same thing with guitars, Wes Gore explained. After the lacquer sits for a while, it sinks, you know, where they did the patching and stuff, and the guitar began to show itself. That sinking enabled them to discover the screw holes for Paige's 2 extra toggle switches that had been removed and covered up, and along with a particularly distinctive mother-of-pearl fret on the 12th fret, which was really unique. You know, they've got the big inlays in the frets.
Yeah.
Abalone, I think it is. And that distinctive mother of pearl, that distinctive fret confirmed that it was indeed the long lost Black Beauty. Okay, so even though Wes Gore knew that Claysgens was down on his luck, Bleem, because of his extensive medical bills, he could use the money if he sold the permanent guitar. They agreed to do the right thing and return the Black Beauty to Paige, you know. And, well, he was rewarded handsomely. We'll get to that, too. So, anyway, so Jimmy Page's guitar, it was confirmed, was sitting at Wes Gore's, you know, guitar store. Okay, so now comes the part, how do we return the guitar? They weren't gonna fly it out, you know. and never see it again this time.
Yeah.
So in the past 30 years, Wes Gore has done business with Eric Clapton, Bruce Springsteen, and some of the biggest names in rock, but he didn't have a Paige connection. So he reached out to his contacts in the Rolling Stone camp.
Nice.
The 12th fret marker, as I mentioned already, was how they confirmed that it was Paige's guitar. Producer musician Perry Margoloff, a good friend of Jimmy Page's, he collects vintage guitars and owns a recording studio in New York, Long Island. They hatched a solution. Paige would give Claysgens Bleem a comparable Les Paul, a 1959 model valued at $45,000, in exchange for Black Beauty. Guitar Geeks, only 189 of these. This is for Guitar Geeks. Only 189 of these Les Paul customs were shipped. 246 of the 59 version. So that's a rare damn guitar too. And I tell you, you get down into the 50s, you've really got yourself something. I mean, my old Les Paul custom with a 3 pickup was a 78, and that was pretty rare. 50s? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
So in October 15th, Wes Gore drove Black Beauty, he didn't dare fly with it, to Texas, where he met Margoloff, Jimmy Page's good friend and collector and studio owner, at the Arlington Guitar Show for the swap. The go-between then delivered Black Beauty to Paige in London. So, I mean, that's just a that's just a great story, you know, and it's not quite over yet. So when I told Jimmy in '87, and this is Jimmy Page's good friend Margoloff, the studio owner and guitar collector. When I told Jimmy Page in 1987 that I'd make it a mission to find his guitar, I thought the probability was very small, Margoloff said last week. I was astonished when I finally had it in my hands. Can you imagine that? After all those years, 45 years, he got it in his hands, telling Jimmy he'd bring it to him. He just couldn't believe it. Okay, when I brought the guitar to his home, he was so happy. It was an incredible emotional moment. We sat, had a cup of tea, discussed the events of getting the guitar back for a good 20 minutes. Then he opened the case. He just couldn't believe it. I love that story. That's a great, great story. Margoloff then called Westgore and handed the phone to Page. We talked a bit about old guitars, Westgore recalled. He said, I can't thank you and this Bleem fellow enough. I told him the guitar has a story to tell with a fairy tale ending, Jimmy said. Yes, exactly. Brilliant. It's a novel. So anyway, Klasjans, the Bleem fellow, never heard a word from Page, though he's happy with his replacement guitar.
Yeah.
I can imagine. And happy with his replacement guitar. He recorded with it this week with his band, Brass Elephant. He had recorded with it this week. Okay, no comments from Page. Okay, the ever inscrutable Page made no public comments about the return of Black Beauty. In 2019, it finally resurfaced publicly as one of 7 Page guitars in New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art exhibit, Play It Loud, Instruments of Rock and Roll.
Wow.
Okay. Page acknowledged the return of the Black Beauty in his new book. Okay, so that's the book. Adam, is that the new book the Page book you're talking about, Anthology?
Mm-hmm.
You may have mentioned that in the post and I missed it. Anyway, so it must be that book coming this fall, but I don't know how old this article is. You know, it talks about the book coming this fall. It could have been 3 falls ago. I don't know. Okay, so which is what prompted Westgore to finally share the saga. Willie's American guitar owner Nate Westgore and Paul Bleem Klasjans at Westgore's shop in St. Paul held a reissued copy of 58 Gibson Les Paul custom guitar. Klasjans returned Jimmy Page's missing guitar and got his 59 Gibson Les Paul in a trade. The rock hero devotes an entire page to the mystery with few details. He points out that his pal Margoloff was able to positively identify Black Beauty because of the 12th fret and unusual mother-of-pearl inlay that has a stripe across it. Writes Page, I find it hard to believe that I was going to get the guitar back after all these years. What is Black Beauty worth? Well, if a guitar belonging to Nirvana's Kurt Cobain went for a record $6 million at auction this summer,
Wow.
Westgore guesstimates Page's prize is worth $10 million.
Oh yeah.
God. Not
David,
that Page would ever part with it. You know, I think that's a wonderful story. I mean, I had to tell that story when I started reading and getting into some things. And I want to do a lot of other stories like that. Of course, none of them will be just like that, but getting away from, you know, so much vinyl unboxing and stuff. To me, this is a little more fun. So anyway, so let's see what's going on in the chat. Adam D, do I have to be the typical millennial? Point out the 14-year-old. Gibsons were really originally, yeah, Jeff. I hope you get better, Royce and Linda. Feel better soon, Mr. Royce. Well, I want to thank everybody for those well wishes because it's been a long haul, man. And I tell you what, like I do every winter, as soon as winter sets in, I'll go down to like Costco and buy 2 or 3 big jars of Airborne. And along with a handful of other vitamins I take every day, I'll take that Airborne, a couple of those, at least twice a day and sometimes 3 times a day. I was supposed to really help your immune system out. But this thing has really gotten a hold of me. I I don't get flu shots anymore. I read some things about them and was told some things that kind of spooked me away from them. And so I haven't had a flu shot in years and years and years. And I don't know if I'm being paranoid. I heard my mother had bad dementia, and she lived with us for 5 of the last years of her life. And basically, it was Betty that took care of her because I was at work every day. But I read where the heavy metals in the flu shots can contribute to dementia and stuff like that. And one of the reasons why I really didn't want, a COVID vaccination either. And it wasn't until I got messed up with my schedules and stuff, and I needed to get a eye operation because of my glaucoma, that I finally went down and got my vaccinations, And then my wife was flying to Texas to visit her sister, and she kind of ran out of time for everything, and she wound up getting her. So we both fully vaccinated. Betty and I, we started out neither one of us wanted. My daughter refuses to have it done, but each to his own. And I don't care. This isn't political for me. It's just some things I read about some of these vaccinations. I mean, come on, let's be honest here. I mean, polio. I mean, aren't we glad we have a polio vaccination? It was crippling so many people. I mean, I don't know how many diseases like that have been basically eradicated because of vaccination. I'm not anti-vax, but there was something about this rush to market vaccination that did bother me. But I'm fully vaccinated. I can't take that back. I just wish this damn cold or flu or whatever it is I have would go away. My daughter, who lives with us, she's already had COVID living here, and none of the rest of us got it. But anyway, so we've dealt with that before. And being a realtor, we have our real estate COVID protocols where before anybody can come in, you start a log. What time you cleaned everything in the house before they got there, all that common handles, cabinet handles, refrigerator handles, toilet handles, faucet handles, all the stuff that they're going to come in and push and pull. You have to sterilize all that. And then when they're done, you have to make an entry, who was here, what time you did that. Then you have to make another entry, what time you did it again after they left.
Good Lord.
So I was used to that. So when my daughter had COVID and she's living with us, I was all day long taking these, antibacterial wipes and wiping all those common surfaces. It was like I made that my job, because fearing the rest of us were going to get it. So anyway, anybody want to add anything here? Robbie, Kate, you guys have anything you want to add to the conversation right now, or excuse me, guys?
You're fine.
Well, Billy Idol just bought, the red guitar that Elvis played in on the '68 comeback special. Billy Idol just bought that.
No, I didn't know that. Really?
He's the owner of the '68 special guitar. Huh?
What, do you know what he paid for it?
No, I didn't read what he paid for it. I just seen the picture and him holding the guitar, going, yeah, Elvis.
Oh yeah.
Everybody idolizes that guy. I mean, that guy was so unique.
He really broke new ground. I mean,
he opened the door for black entertainers. Everybody. Nobody moved on stage until Elvis did.
Right.
And then everybody after them was moving. Jerry Lee Lewis was jumping on the stage. Chuck Berry, everybody, but until Elvis started that, none of those guys.
No, that's exactly right. He was amazing. I mean, I was a kid. My parents had Elvis albums, and we've done some Elvis unboxing and talked about it and stuff. But he was so big. Everybody loved him. As kids, we loved him. My dad loved him. He kind of quit, writing music for a little while. I mean, he went in the military and stuff like that. And then I don't know, what was it right after he got out of the military, he started making all those movies? He wasn't really doing albums at the time. He was making movies, G.I. Joe and all kinds of stuff.
He did Loving You. He did King Creole. He did Jailhouse Rock. Then it stopped. He went into the military, and then he started with GI Blues after he got out, and he did. Let's see, See the Elvis is back right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
cool.
that was his first album after he got out of the army.
Oh, really?
Dad's on there. He does the first
nice.
the first duet with Elvis on the. My dad did.
That's cool.
I'll be home. I'll be home again. Dad did the first duet with him on the album.
Wow.
Well, okay, cool. Well, Linda Foster says she's fully vaccinated and took her flu shot, which is probably the smart thing to do. It's hard to know what to believe. It doesn't keep you from getting it, but hopefully gives you a better chance of survival. And she's never had any side effects, and that's awesome. And she also goes on to say Jim Irsay has David Gilmour's Black Strat and Martin acoustic guitars and John Lennon's white piano he played Imagine on. Man, what a great story, Linda. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
Sharing that.
David Gilmour's guitar went for $4 million.
Wow. Now, how long ago was that?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's been recent. I couldn't tell you exactly how long.
Right. Okay.
I know $4 million.
Right. Wow. Speaking of expensive pianos, I saw the Elton John $1 Million piano show at the Forum at Caesar's Palace. And what an amazing show that was. It's at the Forum at Caesar's. There's this massive screen behind the band that's got, whatever song he's doing, like maybe Rocket Man. Now there's a celestial scene that's moving constantly in motion. Or when you look down on the when you look down on the rim of the piano, that same scene that's moving on this gigantic screen is moving across the rim of the piano. So and that maybe it was $1 million to make it, and that's why they call it the $1 Million piano. But what a show that was, because the Forum's a fairly small venue. I mean, there are no bad seats in there, there are only good seats in there, and it was so much fun hearing him do all those great songs. And Linda just added something here. Okay, so she says that the same guy, Jim Irsay, who has David Gilmour's Black Strat and Martin acoustic guitars and John Lennon's white piano, he played Imagine. He also has Prince's yellow guitar. And then she mentions George Harrison too. He has lots of guitars. 2 years ago, Irsay also has an Elton John piano. He is going to have a museum eventually. It sounds like it, yeah.
Well, Irsay's got a lot of, he owns the New England Patriots.
Oh, is that who that is? Thank you. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Jim Irsay. He owns the Patriots.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Big money.
Kate, you didn't know that?
I'm not a Patriots fan, okay? It's
Okay. I just know you know so much about sports. I just know you know so much about sports,
Well, no. I heard something about that, but I'm really glad, Robert, you brought that up. So thank you for that.
Jeff Davison said they had John Lennon's piano at Graceland when he was there. Did you know that, Robbie?
Yeah, in the music room.
Oh man, that's amazing, Jeff. Thanks for sharing, buddy. He thought that was pretty neat. I think it is too.
But what they do, Royce, they have when you go over across the street where they got all the cars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they'll have like they got Marty Stewart's exhibit of all the stuff that he's collected. They have other star stuff in there along with Elvis's stuff.
Okay, nice. Let's see. Linda says the Colts owner. So he's not the Patriots owner, Linda. He's the Colts owner.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Colts. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't be picking on me on that one.
Thank you, Linda. Well, you got to keep us straight here,
Yeah, that's right.
Come on, Linda.
I got Patriots on my brain.
Well, we all do with Brady retiring and stuff.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Of course, he didn't play last at the Patriots, but he was there at Tampa Bay. But still, he was at the Patriots forever. Okay, so Linda's an Indiana girl, so she knows this stuff. Hey, the Rock and Roll Podcast. Hey, Robert, how you doing, buddy? We just went through the Jimmy Page's stolen Black Beauty Les Paul guitar. We had a lot of fun with that. It's really a cool story. And what we're going to do now is I have a list of other iconic guitars that have been stolen. I just wanted to I'll just read some of them and we'll discuss it, okay? And talk about it a little bit and some of these people. Good to see you, Robert. So anyway, all right. George Harrison. George Harrison had many famous guitars throughout his life, but perhaps none more legendary than his Rickenbackers. Those Beatles, they love those Rickenbackers, you know it? One of the iconic guitars was stolen near the end of the Beatles' run. Harrison gave it to his former label manager, Jack Oliver, and it was right after he gave it to him, the guitar was stolen, you know, and they had a no questions asked, you know, return policy. In '63, when George visited his sister Louise in the States, he bought a small Rickenbacker guitar, was very proud of it. He had it painted black to match John Lennon's. The only time I remember him using it was on his TV show, Ready, Steady, Go in 1969. George gave it to Jack Oliver, and not long after that, it was stolen. I would really like to know if anyone has seen it, Bromwell said in 2009. So, okay, so one of George Harrison's guitars that he'd given to a friend was stolen. Any comments on that, guys?
I know his sister lives in Illinois.
George Harrison's sister?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
States for years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's still alive. I believe it's Illinois.
Gotcha.
Too.
You know, Caitlin's got me because we made a bet. I bet on the Niners. I'm not sure why. And she bet on the Rams. And the bet was whoever lost has to sing a Monkees song. So I've got to sing Last Train to Clarksville on her show.
There it is.
There it is.
Monkees sweatshirt.
What's that, Robbie?
She's got a show?
Yes, Caitlin's Corner.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to check it out.
And I still don't get notified. I've hit the notification bell like 3 times.
Well,
I mean,
I don't go live. I just upload for the time being. But
okay.
Yeah, just click up, just follow my YouTube page, and all the episodes are right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She
had somebody from the Monkees on the show. Tell us about that real quick, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Drummer, musician / drummer Felipe Torres. He drummed for the late David Cassidy and the late Davy Jones.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough and very blessed enough to be able to get him for an interview, and he was very knowledgeable about.
Yeah, no, that was a fun interview. I enjoyed it.
He was fun. I like what he did with the drumsticks. You know, he opened his beer with a drumstick. I thought that was hilarious.
Isn't that crazy? People can open them with so many different things, and I struggle with it.
You can do that with drumsticks. I did not know that. I was like, maybe next time.
Well, Caitlin doesn't know this. I'm going to tell her tonight for the first time, but I'm not singing Last Train to Clarksville in my own voice. I'm going to sing it in the voice of my old friend, Jimmy Durante. Take the last train to Clarksville. I'm going to sing Last Train to Clarksville in Jimmy Durante's voice.
Yeah, I was being very nice. I was going to give you the song with it had the hardest dictation. The hardest one, but I thought I was going to be very nice. So you should be thankful. I give you an easy one.
Right. Okay. So, let's go on to our number 2. Okay, this is going to surprise some people. Well, not really surprise people, but Eric Clapton might be primarily associated with his Fender Stratocasters, but in the 60s, he was known for playing a Gibson Les Paul, in particular one known as Beano. He named his Carbino, okay? In 1966, the guitar was stolen from Clapton and was never seen since. Interestingly, famed Les Paul collector Joe Bonamassa, he's always playing here at one of our local venues, Vina Robles. We get big acts there. In fact, Alice Cooper's coming in April with Ace Frehley.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So I definitely want to see that. Maybe film a little bit of it or something and try to put it on.
Never.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't either, but I think that would be really fun.
Well, here's the funny thing. I'm gonna mention this really quick about Alice. Is that every time he shows up to Colorado, I get tickets, and then something happens, and I can't go. Every single time.
So Linda Foster also mentioned that this Ursay,
Jerry Garcia.
he also has Rickenbackers, I'm sure from very famous people, but he also bought some Jerry Garcia guitars from the Grateful Dead. That's just amazing. I could definitely see him having a nice. David Gilmour had one stolen. That's how he got his Martin. Oh, I see, Linda. Thank you, Jeff Davidson. It wasn't me. Go see that show and give us a concert report, Royce. Okay, Jeff, and that's exactly what I want to do. I bought my tickets already because they had really well. It is a small venue, so I'm not going to worry too much about it because I've been there before. We saw Bryan Adams there, and the Beach Boys were there a month or two ago, and really good. They get really good people there, and it's a very small venue too, which is nice. So I could have bought some really good tickets a couple of months ago, and then this Omicron, thing started hitting, and I remembered what happened when I bought my Rolling Stones tickets for San Diego, and the show got canceled, and we finally got our money refunded, and they still haven't reset a schedule for playing in San Diego. So I started getting kind of nervous that the show's going to get canceled because of the virus again or something. But anyway, there are no bad seats. Even if you're above the seats on the grass, which is a popular place for people to set some chairs or throw out a blanket and buy some good wine. We have 250 wineries here. We're just about to pass Napa in wine production. It just really blew up here as wine country, and that's become real popular. And a lot of people are developing these little B&Bs, for all these people coming into town for the wine and things like that. And actually, it's not just wineries, but breweries have really taken off locally. We probably have 4 or 5 right here in Atascadero. In fact, the old Harley shop that Gary Bang owned is now Santa Maria Brewery, and a friend of mine actually manages it, and he's always inviting me down. First drink's on him. And they always do the football games, and they were down there watching the Niners game together and stuff like that. And I can't wait to get down there. I would have gone down to that Niners game, and he's a Raiders fan. But since the Raiders were already out of it, he was down there with his Niners hat on.
Hey, Roy. Roy, how far are you from Palm Springs?
Oh, that's out in the desert. I'm going to say maybe 3 hours.
But my daughter's 15, when she graduates high school, I'm going to be ritiring in Palm Springs.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you are. Nice.
Yeah, I've been there before. They have very nice.
Yeah. I went to my nephew's wedding there. My nephew Damon.
I think it's just absolutely beautiful. I haven't been there, but
they have a lot to do there. They have casinos and everything.
Yeah, I've been retired since I was 41, but I haven't officially retired because I'm raising my daughter on my own. We lost the mother when she was 2 weeks old, and I raised my daughter by myself. That's okay. Heard that. Yeah, and I've raised her by myself, and when she turns 18 and I get her into a college somewhere, my 2 boys graduated from college, one from Duke, one from Western Kentucky. My oldest is an engineer at Stanley Tool, and my second son graduated from Duke, and he's in Salt Lake City, Utah. He's running a company out there, and I got to raise this last one, and when she gets out on her own, then I'm permanently retiring. I'm going to go to Palm Springs.
That's really cool, Bobby.
Okay, well, that's cool because I'll be able to come over there and see you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll hook up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be fun. You know, Linda Foster just said that if I get to San Diego, go to Not Tacos. It's in the Little Italy area. That sounds cool, Linda. You know, I'm like I think I'm 2.5 hours from San Diego. You do get into some pretty good traffic when you get down there. But we used to always drive down across the border and go into northern Baja for a lot of different reasons. I'd take people down to buy fountains in this place on the frontage road between Rosarito Beach and Puerto Nuevo, the lobster capital of northern Baja. Every restaurant in Puerto Nuevo makes lobster. And there's a barker out front with a platter with a big lacquered lobsters to show you how big of a lobster you get if you come into their place, you know. And they're all out on the street trying to get you in to eat lobster. And man, Betty and I drove down there for our 30th anniversary just for the hell of it. And we had lobster and shrimp and margaritas and beans and sauce and tortillas and chips and sauce. And the whole bill came to $30 for both of us. And the whole time we had these mariachis playing love songs behind us, you know. It was fun. And so we're close, and we drive down to Ensenada where the cruise ships come in, and boy, have they made Ensenada a pretty place now. All the streets are paved with pavers. And the cruise ships come in, so they want it to be really choice looking. Yeah. And I love the fish market in Ensenada. Oh my God, you go to the fish market, man, they got all the, blue marlin, all this fish stacked up, and you walk past it all and go to the back. And a lot of tourists don't know this, but back there's their fish tacos, and they're about 50, 60, I don't know, maybe they're $1 each today. And all the condiments are out. You get your fish and make them any way you want. And it's like the best fish tacos you ever had in your life, And so it's fun driving down there. San Diego's close. And Linda says go to Not Tacos. Is that how she said that?
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah, not tacos. I love that, Linda. I'm going to go to not tacos. I'm going to write that down.
Why
that sounds yummy, Jeff.
Tacos.
Hey, Bob just joined us. How you doing, Bob? He raised his 2 sons by himself from when they were babies. Now they're men. God, Bob, that's great, man. I totally respect you guys.
Yeah, that takes a special guy to do that.
Yeah.
They say Dad can't do it, but we can do it.
Oh yeah.
We can do it.
Yes.
I've been more of a mother than a father. I had to develop a sensitive side because I had to be mom and dad. And
right.
But I think I'm more of a mother to her than a father, really.
Right. That's totally cool, Robbie. I really respect that. Hey, Bob, it's good to see you. We went through, you'll have to, if you haven't been watching from the beginning, you'll have to rewatch the first 30 minutes or so and take the tour of Jimmy Page's missing guitar, stolen. 46 years later, he finally gets it back, his Black Beauty. And anyway, it's a good story. I love that story. Okay, Caitlin wants to go to Walt Disney World first and Vegas. Well, I grew up in Vegas, so... Vegas, if you haven't been to Vegas, it's a hell of an experience. Well, when I grew up just outside of Vegas in Henderson, Nevada, 10 miles down the road, we always said we were from Vegas because it was all, especially now, it's really all interconnected. You wouldn't know it when you switch from one to the next where the boundary is. But see, all of us worked in Vegas. If you were a teenager and you wanted a summer job to buy your car and gas and 8 tracks, fix your car up, you went to work out in the casinos because they were union. They were the culinary union. You could be a busboy, a dishwasher, or whatever. Work in the pantry, work for the chef. I worked for the chef for a while. And that was, I swear to God, I had to go clean the chef's bake shop. And it looked like he just dumped 2 50-pound bags of flour all over the room. When you went in there, it was like unbelievable. But anyway, so we all worked out in Vegas, and Vegas is quite an experience. We still enjoy it, but we don't go like we used to. Growing up there, my parents, the house I grew up at was there. The house I grew up in was there, and my brother Richie, who you guys have all met, lived back there for years before he finally went up to Wenatchee, not Wenatchee, but Stevenson, Washington, by the Columbia Gorge, and now he's in Oregon, Salem, Oregon, is where he's living now with his new wife. So anyway, he was back there, and of course, this year I attended my class reunion back there. We still have our class reunions back there because that's where I went to school. And I have a lot of friends back there. I have friends that go back to 4 and 5 years old. Our mothers worked together in the casinos in Vegas. We got babysat together, and we're still very close today, you know. And boy, we had some times back there, some crazy times. Some that I have never mentioned outside of that little circle that was with me that I'll probably never mention. You know? It was pretty crazy back in the day, but so anyway, but we had fun, and some of us are still alive to show for it, and some of us aren't. You know, I mean, I have whole families of friends that are gone. You know, the Daniels, Gordon's gone, Keith's gone, the younger brother's gone, their older brother's gone. All 4 of them, you know, they're gone. So many friends that are gone, you know, it's just crazy back. But anyway, Royce, I lived in Vegas when it was the old strip. Yeah, Bob, I hear you. The old strip was fun. I worked at, I don't know if you remember the Hacienda Hotel and Casino. If you were coming in on the LA highway, and I don't know where you would be driving from, it was the very first casino was the Hacienda. And that's the one I told you guys I worked in the bake shop for the chef. And he finally gave me a promotion and put me in the buffet. And I wore this like double-breasted chef suit with checkered pants and a great big tall chef's hat. And my entire job was to monitor all the desserts he made in the buffet, you know. And so I'd take a cart and I'd go down to the bake shop and I'd load it with pies, all the cream pies, banana cream, lemon cream, coconut cream. And I just learned to love those cream pies, you know. And every other pie and cake that he made. And I would push the cart up there, and I have a little back room right by my table full of desserts. I'd keep all the pies back there. And when you started running low on a certain kind, I'd run back there and chop some slices and bring them out on plates. And that was my whole job. And then I'd stand by the big plate glass windows with the swimming pool behind me, you know. So actually, oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, I started as a dishwasher, me and my buddy Terry, and it was one of these monstrous conveyor belts. And the trick was, if you were the guy up at the front where the bus boys loaded the trays, you'd take and you'd hose everything down, and you get so good at putting them between the prongs of this automatic dishwashing machine, and you'd just lay them in there perfectly and make sure you filled every row of prongs, in the hope that the guy that had to take them all off while they were scalding hot couldn't keep up and they'd start breaking. You know? So there was always race. There was always that race going on.
Yeah, I worked as a dishwasher at a hotel. That's hard work.
It is hard work, but it was such a big machine. You had one person that did nothing but silverware. You know, one person that did, you know, saucers and stuff like that. Then you had 2 people at either end of this like 20-foot long, you know, dishwasher. You know, one person loading it, one person unloading it. You know. And then right adjacent to you were all the chefs in the pantry making sandwiches and things, and it was kind of fun, you know. It was kind of fun, you know. It got to a point where I was like, school started, like I wanted to work a little longer, make a little extra money, and it got to the point where I was like the only white guy working in the kitchen, you know. And I'm sitting in there, you know, one day with the brothers, and I got along with everybody, and I'm the least prejudiced person you're ever going to meet in your life. And I always have been, but I'm sitting in there with them, and they go, "Hey man, hey, what kind of car you got, man?" I'm like, "I got a 55 Chevy." "Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. You're cool." Yeah, thanks, guys. You know, what color is it? I'm like, "Oh, it's white." "Oh, man, that's cool, man. You're cool." I'm like, "Well, thanks, guys." You know, I'm fitting in. I'm really feeling good about myself, me and my bros, you know. And funny, "Well, what kind of music you listen to?" And this is like 1968-ish, and I'm like, "Well, you know, Marvin Gaye and the Temptations and Otis Redding and Wilson Pickett, and you know," and I started naming all these soul bands, and that's what me and my friends were listening to at the time. Like, and they were just going crazy. "Oh man, you're so cool. You're cool." I'm like, "Man, I'm making friends there fast, you know, and I'm getting along with everybody, you know, no bullshit, you know." And I go out to my car, and both doors are wide open, and all my tapes are gone. after
Oh,
work. There's like those little, remember those little elephant windows, in front of your
yeah,
side window? You push them open to let the air come in. Well,
yeah.
one of them broke.
They when they took those windows out, they really did a disservice to a vehicle. Those were so nice when you're going down the road.
Yeah,
It was like air conditioning.
they really let the air in. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, Royce, I would fly in from Chicago and stay at the Stardust. Oh, no kidding. I remember we
Oh,
were driving into Vegas one day, and James Bond, Sean Connery, we
nice.
just got up next to the Stardust. They were repeating a scene of him getting out of some car and with an attaché case and walking into the Stardust. And that was pretty
That's
damn
cool.
cool. And I have a friend, Bob. In fact, I'm trying to get him on my show, and I tried to get him on another show, a year and a half ago, and he wasn't really interested. But I was hoping maybe he'd come on my show. But he does the there's a not blues, jazz. He does the Las Vegas Jazz Festival every single year, and I think he's done it for 25 or 30 years. But I bought a copy of his book for my oldest daughter. I haven't got my cell phone, and he autographed it for her. And he's got pictures sitting at a table with John Lennon and all of these stars. He managed Willie Nelson for a while. He'd set up all these concerts for all these people as a promoter. And his
What's
book,
his name, Royce?
huh?
What's his name? Can you give his name out?
Yeah. Let me think for a minute. It's really weird that I'm having a hard time with that. His name. As soon as I think of it, I'll tell you. Okay. But anyway, so he does this Las Vegas Jazz Festival of Lights or something every
That's cool.
single year. And he's a big deal. And he has all these really famous jazz people there performing. And it's a big thing in Vegas every year. And he knows all these people. He set up concerts for all of them and stuff like that down through the years. And he's just a really good dude. And I mean, you can't help but like him if you talk to him. And he's a little bit older than me, but it was either the Stardust or the Sahara his parents owned. That was their casino. So he was one of the like casino brats in Vegas when he was a kid,
Yeah.
kids of casino owners. But that's kind of an interesting story by itself. I joined this group called the Vegas Mob. It's a
Oh,
it's
oh,
it's a one of these Facebook sites called the Vegas Mob, and so that stuff was always interesting, when you were kind of living it in real time and the stuff was going down. But anyway, so I really want to get him on here, and
that'd be cool. Yeah.
I'll get back to you with his name, and I really don't understand why I can't think of it at the moment. Okay. All right. So yeah, pardon me.
Probably because you have pie on your mind.
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to ask my phone right now. Who put on the Las Vegas Jazz Festival? His first name is Michael. I don't see it here, but it's Michael. Las Vegas of Lights Jazz Festival. Yeah. His first name is Michael. I haven't found his name in here yet. But this year, there's a whole lineup of all the people that are going to be there. Michael Shivo. I didn't find it. I finally remembered. Sorry. Michael Shivo is the one that puts that on.
Yeah.
And I've been friends with him for some time now. And we've got mutual friends and stuff like that. But I'd just love to have him on the show. Just tell stories. I mean, when you open up his book and he's got pictures of him sitting at a table with John Lennon, laughing together and look like getting drunk or high together, and all of these stories, that he's got, and all these people that he's met and hung out with, it'd be a great, great guest. Because I'd like to start doing more of that too, having guests come on and
Do
stuff.
it. I'm still trying to figure some guests out for my show as well. That'd be awesome if you could get him. That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be great. So let's see. Bob says a lot of blues singers and musicians from Chess Records and Recordings are buried in and around Chicago. I have been to most of their graves. Wow, Bob, that's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Very interesting. Huh. Yeah, I can see that too. The Chicago blues is, huge. Blues and jazz,
Yeah.
Chess Records was from there, you know, with Etta James was and Muddy Waters, and Chuck Berry was on there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he left Chess Records and drove down the road and had a heart attack.
Whoa.
Who was
Leonard,
that?
Chess, Leonard Chess of started Chess
okay.
Records, the Chess
Oh,
label.
wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, he was fooling around with Etta James there for a while.
Okay.
He was a supporter of Etta James, which she's just that woman there is amazing. You can see her on YouTube. Check her out on the Montreux Jazz Festival.
Okay.
It's on
Montreux
YouTube.
Jazz Festival, yeah.
Oh yeah,
You know,
she's,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go Blind and Drowning My Own Tears, all those blues songs.
Yeah, I love those songs. I just got another. Sam Cooke, Portrait of a Legend. I just got that album in blue vinyl. And,
Oh God,
I love that. I love some Sam Cooke music too.
Yeah, Change Is Gonna Come.
Rare.
Yeah, well, I love that song. If you ever change your mind about leaving me behind,
Yeah,
bring it on home. To me, I think is the name of the song. But
Sam Cooke.
I play a little bit of that, you know, acoustically on the guitar and try to sing it. But I'm no Sam Cooke by any stretch. You know?
Bring It On Home to Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful. He had a perfect voice, Sam Cooke.
Perfect voice, yeah. And I recently bought that Ray Charles double album set too, you know.
Nice.
That's an orange vinyl. And Ray Charles got some great songs, you know. And what a talent he is. I mean, you guys probably all saw the movie of Ray Charles, you know.
Yeah, the country.
Yeah.
The guy can sing the phone book. That guy.
Oh my God. It was, yeah, exactly.
It was a gift. For sure.
Right. Yeah, blues singers. I've always loved the blues singers, you know.
Oh, I love the blues.
And I love the blues, and I loved the old soul music too. I was a big fan of
soul music. Mm.
Yeah.
What?
One of my highlights of going to concerts was seeing the Temptations and the Four Tops. Temptations and Four Tops play a lot at the Paso Robles Fairgrounds 2 years in a row, and they would play separately and then come out and play together and sing together. And what a show that was. And I tell you what, they weren't a big name like they used to be. So instead of being crowded into your, you know, stadium seating and that, they had these nice big tables set up, and everybody had, you know, lots of elbow room, you know, at their own table and stuff like that. It was just a great fun show. You know, I never thought I'd get to see them. And I mean, I realized they weren't necessarily the original lineup. Even when I was listening to them, lineups were changing and stuff, you know, but they stayed good all the time.
Did you see them recently or like in the 80s?
I'm going to say, no, it was past the 80s. I'm going to say it was early 90s when I saw them.
Were they still doing Treat Her Like a Lady?
I think so. Yeah, I can't really remember all the songs. I liked every one of them, you know.
They had a big hit with that in '84. I grew up in Detroit, Royce. I grew up 15 minutes from Motown, Hitsville, West Grand Boulevard. I was 15 minutes from West Grand Boulevard, and I was born in '66, and all through the '70s, I grew up through all that. You know, right by the Fox Theater where they had the Motown, Motown review and stuff. Yeah, and I grew up, a couple of blocks from Aretha Franklin's. Her father had a church there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
she can sing some gospel, that's for sure.
Oh my God, when she sings,
the gospel I really loved was Elvis's gospel.
Oh, Elvis's gospel is just he puts my hair stands up on my back of my neck and my arm when I hear him sing gospel.
Oh, I'm telling you. You know, Jeff Davidson, he was talking about, he just watched the movie Diamonds Are Forever. We were talking about James Bond, you know, in Vegas. Anyway, and he also said he wished he had some of that cream pie. Boy, did I learn to love pies. And not just cream pie. I mean, pecan pie. It's really rich, but I got to the point where I probably had 3 or 4 slices of pie a night, including pecan pie. I can't believe I left the place still weighing I can't believe I left the place still weighing 160 pounds, you know.
Are you probably like me? I could eat anything, and not gain any weight.
Well, no, I kind of used to be that way, but things have changed over time.
I don't know. You can't see it, but I do have some cookie flabs going on.
I don't know what happened. You know, I used to have my gym membership and out surfing a minimum once a week. If I had 3 days off in a row, I'd go surfing all 3 days. You know, and we'd go running and hiking. And now we're reduced to walking 5 dogs around the park today. I need to get out there and start surfing is what I need to do. But the day I was going to go surfing, and my granddaughter Alexis was coming down for Christmas with her fiance Brad, and he'd never gone surfing before. And Alexis called me in advance and said, "Hey, Papa, Brad really wants you to take him out and surf." So I was going to take him to the Rock in Morro Bay, a place called the Pit. Just kind of you don't park right at the Rock. There's another little parking lot you use just a little bit in from the Rock, but all right in the same location. And the very freaking day I was going to take him, and we canceled because we just had a bad rain. And when you have a bad rain, they tell you stay out of the water for several days, because everything from all of the storm drains and all the bacteria and the stuff that floods out of the gutters and everything into the storm drains, it all pours into the ocean and turns it really murky. Plus it's full of pollutants and stuff. And you can get flu-like symptoms, eyes, ears, nose, throat, flu-like symptoms from all those toxins in the water right after a big rain. And we had a big rain. And anyway, so make a long story short, that very day, because of the murky water and the big rain, a guy got killed on his boogie board by a shark, by a great white shark. That's the day me and my granddaughter's significant other were going surfing. And I told him I didn't want to go because the water was going to be all murky. And they say part of the cause, maybe the cause, the water was so murky that the sharks could no longer distinguish between what their natural food is. You know, the great whites, I mean, you know, all bets are off with like a tiger shark and a bull shark. They'll rip people apart and just keep coming at them and eat them. But the great whites don't really do that with people. Once they realize they've bit a human, you know, which isn't their, like seals and stuff, isn't their natural food. If they don't kill you with that one bite, rip a big artery open or something in your leg, they usually won't come back for another one because they realize you're not their natural food, you know. Yeah. Anyway, it kind of made me sick to hear, you know, just when I'm ready to go back in the water, you know, like the old Jaws saying, you know, get ready to go back in the water, and boom, right where I was going to go, the day I was going to go, someone is killed by a great white shark. It kind of takes a little wind out of your sails getting back out there, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't swim, so I'm thankful.
And I used to go to all kinds of places by myself, remote places by myself, where if anything happened, you know, and I never really worried about it, you know. Now it kind of, I don't know. I'm going to get back out there, though. Trust me on that. But it's not going to be in murky water. But plenty of little gremlins around me I can throw between me and the grit. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so let's see. What's going on in the chat? Linda had surgery in hospital in Detroit, Robbie. Linda had surgery at a hospital, Hutzel's Hospital in Detroit. Are you familiar with that, Robbie?
Hudson or Hetzel?
Hudzell, Hutzel.
That's downtown.
Okay. Yeah. Linda says it's called getting older. Sorry to say. Yeah, no kidding. I've been saying that a lot lately. I've been saying a lot of things and thinking about a lot of things I'd never thought about before, you know. It's like one of my classmates died 2 days ago. Nice guy, clean cut, you know, not a partier, didn't take drugs and drink and all that stuff. Everybody has a drink. And you know, died, you know. His younger sister.
I know we're losing you. Well, you seen on my Facebook page, Royce. I lost one of my troops from Desert Storm. She was.
Yeah, that's right. I did. Yeah, I commented on that.
She lived an hour from me in Louisville. She never told me she had cancer, and she passed away.
Yeah, I cried. Sad.
You know, I was a
It's just
staff
all around
sergeant.
me.
I was a staff sergeant, and your troops think that you know we don't like them or whatever because we run them, and you know we're not very nice in the military. And but that broke my heart, losing
No,
one of my.
I hear you. I've had such good friends die in the last few years. You know, it really is sad. It really is sad.
Yeah,
Oh, because I mean, it really kind of puts you in touch with your own mortality, you know, and you start
exactly.
realizing more and more you're getting older. And Michael Altini made a post the other day, and he said something to the effect of, he's never, ever, ever used to think about death, and now it seems like it's all around him. And I said, that's exactly how I feel, you know.
Yeah, we're losing entertainers. We're losing politicians. You know, the people
Yeah,
we grew up through our entire life that we grew up through with and known, and you know they're just passing away, and
Yeah.
it's just it don't feel right. You know, like
no,
the
it
three
doesn't.
I lost. We went through the war together, and you know we made it through that. We're not supposed to lose each other. You
Right,
know,
right,
it,
right, right.
go through a war, you feel like you can live forever, but you know you can't.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, you know, Robbie, Linda Foster in the chat just thanked you for your service.
Yes. Thank you.
You
Oh,
know,
you're very, very welcome. I'd do it all over again.
yeah, no, we all appreciate that. I have a
Thank
lot of
you.
friends that went. You know, I have some younger friends that were. You know, one of them was an advisor in Afghanistan, and he did at least 2 tours over there. He was there for a long time. You know, and you know, so he saw a lot of action and a lot of action. He was a sniper. He was a professional sniper. You know, he
Yeah,
trained.
that's very hard to get into, and very hard to the sniper training is very hard to graduate from. So if he made it as a sniper, he's a bad dude.
No,
That's,
he is. Yeah,
that's one
yeah,
bad dude right there.
right, right. Yeah,
I was a
yeah.
cavalry scout when I went over. I was trained as a cavalry scout. We went ahead forward and we observed. We did a salute report, size, area, location, unit, time of stuff, and we were the forward eyes to the unit behind us. And
Yeah.
if we thought something didn't need to be there, we called in an airstrike, got rid of it, and we cleared it for them. We cleared landmines and all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
A hazardous job, my friend.
Yeah.
All my respect. You know, when I graduated high school in 1971, I went down, I signed up for the draft because they were still drafting for Vietnam. I signed up for the draft and my number came out and it was in the 300s, you know, 335 days a year was like 315 or something like that.
Yeah.
And what they were saying is the war was kind of, I won't say the war was winding down. It continued for a few years, but America was trying to get out of it, you know, at
Yeah.
that point.
Ended in 73.
Yeah. Yeah. So America was trying to get out of it. And Richard Nixon was running on getting us out of it and all this kind of stuff. And so my number came out. It was really, really high. And the word on the street was they were only drafting people that were from 0 to 100, maybe 150. And I was almost, you know, double that. I was double that. And
Yeah.
so I never got called, you know, I never got drafted. And everybody was, like I said, it was kind of a crazy time right then. I mean, you can go back as far as like 67 and 65% of the American population had turned against that war because it just seemed open-ended and we were never going to win it. We were just trying, I don't know what we were doing, to be honest with you. Maybe you know more about it than I do at this point, but it's just kind of a
Well,
memory now.
you have to have when you go into something like that, the mission has to have an end game.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's what was starting to fall apart in Afghanistan too, you know.
Okay, Desert Storm, we were in and out in 6 months. We completed.
No, that's the way a war needs to be fought. We didn't go there and occupy it to make sure none of none of the same characters we didn't like.
Exactly.
We went in there and punished, and freed what was it, Qatar, and gave them back their independence, and then we got the hell out of there.
It was Kuwait.
Oh, Kuwait. Okay.
Yeah, I was in right in the middle of Kuwait, and I tell you, the children were starving, and they would hang on our Humvees begging for food, and the women. Well, I'm not going to talk about it.
It's okay.
It don't bother me. I just don't want to.
Right.
It's not right to say over the.
No. In Afghanistan went on like, what was it, 20 years? And I mean, and everybody said all along, as soon as we leave, the Taliban will take it back. And
it was another Vietnam.
They couldn't even get out the country until they had. I mean, I kept hearing that they occupied more actual physical territory than they did when they were in charge of it, because it's such a crazy place to try to occupy.
Royce, when we went into the whole reason why we went into Kuwait is because Saddam Hussein went in there and he had those oil fields tied up.
Yeah.
And Saudi Arabia was afraid that he was going to come in there and take their oil.
Exactly.
Okay. Bush, what are the Bushes known for? They're oilmen.
I know.
Bush was friends with the king of Saudi Arabia. Okay. So it was Bush got in there because of the oil situation, right?
Exactly.
Like, guess what? They went into Afghanistan, right?
Right.
What happened in the United States in the last 10 years with opiate addiction, painkillers, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, all the poppy fields are in Afghanistan. We controlled that. So we controlled that the last 20 years. No wonder there was an opioid addiction. That's big money.
Oh yeah, yeah,
for sure.
So it's the U.S. government. They look over here while they're doing something over there. We went into Kuwait. They didn't care nothing about the Kuwaiti people. They were over there protecting the oil fields. That's just the darn truth of it.
Oh yeah. Linda Foster, I think, Linda, you made a great point. Schwarzkopf, we all remember and love him.
Oh yeah.
Should have been able to finish it. Yeah, for sure.
We were at his back door. We were in South Basra, not far from Baghdad. Schwarzkopf said, "Man, let's go." And Daddy Bush said, "No, if you go in there and kill him or kill the people, then we'll be just like them. We'll be mercenaries. We'll be terrorists too."
They also wanted to leave him some of his top troops, the ones that he had. I don't know, he had a few 100,000 that were supposed to be the top guys and stuff. And they were a little afraid of Iran getting too much influence in Iraq after we, messed them up so bad.
Yeah, so I was in 7th Corps. They pulled us out of Germany. We didn't even have desert uniforms. We had the camouflage uniforms. They thought we were special forces. We went up the middle. We fought the Republican Guard, the Iraqi special forces. And then we went up and then curved back down and hooked and got on the northern part of the city, like a big hook. 18th Airborne Corps, 82nd Airborne swung way left and came across. And 3 Corps, the old unit that Patton was in, 2nd Armored, they were on right below Kuwait with the Marines. We did it right. Schwarzkopf, we were a brilliant man, brilliant. Right. But yeah, he wanted to go into Kuwait or Baghdad, and Bush said no. The Saudi Arabia king was going to pay each soldier $10,000 for helping out, and Bush knocked that out for us.
Oh, great! Jeez.
Yeah, $10,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh no, well no. I was just gonna say that Bob just chimed in on the chat and he says his best friend's brother lost his life at 20 years old in Vietnam in 1969.
Wow.
His family was given the Congressional Medal of Honor by President Nixon.
Wow.
Oh wow.
It's sad. And Linda graduated the same year I did, 1971, from high school.
I wasn't born
Yeah,
yet.
no, it's pretty crazy. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I wonder if we're not going to, how after Vietnam we didn't get involved hardly, I think, until Reagan and Grenada. When they didn't in that little country of Grenada, they took a bunch of hostages from some university or something, and they made that famous movie with Clint Eastwood, Heartbreak Ridge, was it, with the Ayatollah of rock and roll? Yeah, yeah. But that was kind of the real incident, not the movie. Was kind of like one of our first involvements after Vietnam. We were kind of gun shy and didn't want to get into anything for a long time. I wonder if something like that's going to happen now after 20 years in Afghanistan, just to hand it back to the people we took it from. It seems to me, go in there and just destroy their infrastructure and really punish them for hosting, ISIS or Al Qaeda actually. And then we've done our job and leave, I guess. Because 20 years we didn't gain any. All we did was continue to pour supplies in there that now are in the hands of the Taliban. All our modern weaponry. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I think we have to we had a good reason to go in there, because of 9/11 and everything like that. But like you said, there has to be an exit strategy. I mean, they should.
You definitely have an end game, and I cannot.
Yeah.
And when we can't understand as civilians or whatever, why they do that, but I'm telling you, just like when we went into Kuwait, it was an oil thing. Daddy Bush is a big oil guy,
Right.
the son. So it was bananas for him to do that. He made a lot of money with his oil companies because of that. They say the mission was to go in and liberate Kuwait, but while we were liberating Kuwait, Daddy Bush is making deals with the king of Saudi Arabia for oil. I mean, I'm a soldier and I bleed OD green, but you have to call it what it is.
Yeah, it bothers me hearing that kind of stuff. It really does.
Afghanistan, they stayed over there because of the poppy pill. It's no coincidence that the whole time that they were there, that's why we have an opioid addiction in the United States. They were pumping that stuff in the United States to everybody. Everybody's running around here addicted.
Exactly.
That's not a coincidence.
We had 3 or 4 or 5 well-known families lose their sons all within about 6 months of each other right here in Atascadero, all from overdoses.
Yeah.
These were people that you knew the whole time you've lived here and stuff,
I mean, that the opioid thing is a billion dollar industry.
Oh,
We had control of that for the last 20 years in Afghanistan.
right. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go through just a couple more famous guitars that disappeared. Okay.
Yeah, right.
We just ended with Eric Clapton's actual Les Paul Beano, which Joe Bonamassa, who's a famous, that's how I got sidetracked. Joe Bonamassa is always coming to Vina Robles. He's a great blues player, very well, great blues player. That's all I can say about him. But he made headlines in 2016 when he claimed he knows where the guitar currently is, Eric Clapton's Beano, but he wouldn't tell anybody. So I don't know what to say about that. Maybe it was a friend of his who has it, or a friend of a friend confided in him and he doesn't want to get him, I don't know what to say about that. I don't like hearing that kind of stuff,
He might have.
So, well, he might have it. And Bonamassa said it's in a collection on the East Coast of America.
Oh.
He told Guitarist Magazine, without offering any further details. That's all I can tell you, and that's all I will say. So that's too bad. Okay, then blues guitar. seen the guitar himself, he added. Okay. So, the next one is Paul McCartney.
Yes.
He had a number of Hofner violin basses, the famous Beatle bass. He had a number of those basses over the course of his career, and continues to play the instrument that's almost as iconic as he is. But the original one, which McCartney purchased in 1962, was stolen during the sessions for Get Back and Let It Be in 1969. He's never been the same since. That's crazy. According to a biography called Paul McCartney, Paul McCartney, The Life, the original violin bass, known as the cavern bass, is believed to be somewhere in Ottawa, Canada, and cites a Liverpool, England taxi driver as the person who provided that knowledge of the famed instrument's whereabouts. Well, that's interesting. Okay, the next one. Well, we'll skip Jimmy Page's Black Beauty. Okay. The next one is Kayla loved this one. The Monkees' Mike Nesmith,
Ooh, yeah.
known for many things, including his signature hat and sideburns, but he was also associated heavily with the unique Gretsch 12, the unique Gretsch 12-string guitar. Okay, I'm going to put him back on. Okay,
Yeah.
he's also associated heavily with the unique Gretsch 12-string guitar he played throughout the group's career. The car was custom made for him as he exclusively played 12-string guitars. It needed something for the Monkees TV show, and the pilot was sold. The guitar was unfortunately stolen. Nesmith had no replicas made for him in the years since. I don't know where it is. You'd think somebody would get caught with it at some point, he said in an interview with Sound and Vision. Okay. Well, that's too bad.
Well,
Okay.
sorry. I was going to say, whoever has that guitar now better be taking good care of it.
Yeah.
He passed away in December, so it's just like,
I know.
That he never found it or whatever. That's a shame.
Yeah. And Jimmy Page, the 12-string he originally played was not that double neck SG by Gibson. It was a Fender 12-string.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one, the last one is, you've all heard of guitar virtuoso Joe Satriani. One album he had was called "Surfing with the Alien." I saw him in concert. I saw him in concert twice. Okay, so he had two of a kind Ibanez Chrome Boys, they were called, prototype guitars. One of a pair of guitars made for him in a unique chrome finish was stolen while he was on tour in Florida in 2002. Satriani was desperate to get the guitar back, even offering a reward for its return with no questions asked. Mr. Pearly Chrome Ibanez guitar. Mr. Pearly. I guess the name of the guitar was Mr. Pearly. Chrome Ibanez guitar was stolen last Wednesday during loadout at Ruth Eckerd Hall in Clearwater, Florida. If anyone knows anything about this, please let us know as soon as possible. Not much else to say, he wrote in a message at the time. The guitar has never been seen again, and no reports have ever surfaced of its whereabouts. So, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my show tonight. We can have another conversation or talk a little bit more about it if we'd like to, or we can close down the show. I think we've been on long enough. We've been on for an hour and 38 minutes, and I keep saying I'm trying to shorten the shows, and I have been getting them. I mean, some of the first ones were like 3 hours plus, 2.5 hours, and we're getting down an hour and a half and less now, and I kind of like that because you can get carried away with these shows. You're having so much fun chatting with your friends and stuff. It could just go on forever, and that's what happens often. But I wouldn't mind if I could get down to an hour, an hour tops,
That's what I try to aim for my podcast. It's like my last episode, which you just saw, or I'll say, it was only like 38 minutes. And so I try to keep it down between like 38 minutes to like maybe an hour top, or maybe even 58 minutes top.
Okay, Linda. Good night, Linda. Linda's going to go let the dogs out. Good to see everyone. Really, really good to see you, Jeff. Jeff, thank you very much for coming in. I haven't seen you in a little while as well. And then Bob popped in, and others popped in. Bob, and there's somebody. I can't really. It's a foreign name.
Oh, it's a bot.
Huh?
It's a bot.
A bot?
A bot. It's spams.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I
thank
keep
you.
blocking it in the chat.
Yeah, we've had some of those before, but it was really good to see everybody. This was a fun chat tonight. You know, the chats have been a little slow lately, and Adam D had popped in, and that was cool. And Adam had a lot to add. You know, he had a lot of things to say about the whole Jimmy Page guitar thing. And it was just fun, you know, Jeff's comments and Linda's comments. And anyway, thank you all very much. We're going to sign off now. Yeah. Thanks, okay. Caitlin. Thanks, Robbie. I really appreciate you guys helping me.
No problem.
Okay. Good night, all.
Good night, bud.